guys, welcome back to Class of Learning. You are with Rahul Sharma, your friend and guide, and today it's time to discuss the history of English language, the complete scenario regarding the basic version and how the changes that take place in an English language we need to work out in this particular video class. Here we're going to know about the periods, the different periods, the era, and the significant changes that take place in all these periods in just particular English language. It's all about the language, the acquisition, the borrowings, and how things change in the language. Let's start with the basic. The first scenario that we know about before the period of 450 BC. आपने कहा सर इस period में क्या था? We don't have a complete information regarding this period, so we just started the old English from the period of 450 to 1066. The period that we known as 1066 is the end of Old English. Why we just say the end of Old English? How do we get to know or who is the master of English language in different eras? When somebody says it's been a history of English language, we can divide it into three parts: the Old English, the Middle English, and the Modern English that we are feeling right now. But in really, if you really want to know everything about it, I just want to name four parts. The first, the Old English; the second, the Middle; and third, the early. I repeat, the early modern period, and then the modern period. How I can differentiate these? और कौन से points हैं जिन्हें हमें यहाँ याद रखना है? How can we make differentiate these? That all is very good. कुछ changes जो generally आएंगे यहाँ पे, जो history of English में जानने की जरूरी है. The first, the spelling and the pronunciation. The pronunciation changes from period to period. That changes, that will be from here to here. Lots of things you can write on these, because I'm not going to write on these on boards, but you need to take in your mind. The first and the most important thing is the spellings and the pronunciation. The pronunciation, the way we sound the word, the certain sounds that we make while reading that particular words, and then the long vowels and the other vowels. What do you mean long vowels and the vowels? Have you heard of diphthongs, consonants? Yeah, I'm talking about these, the pure vowel. And then the changes that take place, and then vocabulary, the use of vocabulary, then the borrowings, the acquisition language. That all is bilingualism, multilingualism. What is all about? You need to go through the different ages. ये सब हमें ages बताता है. And then the grammatical genders. These all are things that going to work out in this particular phase, and we have to make a whole of these. To know the history of English language, we have to work out these in details. Let's start up the class before wasting more time. The first, the Old English, also known as the Anglo-Saxon English. The Anglo-Saxon English. The period goes with that 450 to 1066. तो दोबारा क्लियर करते हैं. हमने कहा ओल्ड इंग्लिश की बात करते हैं. ओल्ड इंग्लिश का पीरियड जो डिफाइन किया गया वो तो 450 टू 1066. इस पीरियड को हमने ओल्ड इंग्लिश का नाम दिया. रीजन क्या था? यहाँ पे बहुत सारे ऐसे वर्ड थे जो इंग्लिश में यूज होते हैं जिनको हम आज यूज नहीं करते. We cannot use. उसमें vowels का sound use होता था. इंग्लिश कैसे की जाती थी? स्पेल किया जाता था. 6 simple vowels को यूज किया था. A, E को साथ में यूज किया जाता था. So we cannot pronunciate in a perfect manner. Thou, thee, thou. These are the words that are being used in that particular. You must have read the Chaucer. अगर आपने पढ़ी हो तो you have found lots of words from the Old English over there. Then we have the Middle English. The era for the Modern English or the Middle English is 1066 to 1450. ये डेट्स उनके लिए बहुत जरूरी हैं जो नेट की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं. 8 जुलाई तक एग्जाम है, या जो लोग सेट टेट ट्रेड के एग्जामिनेशन प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, तो दे टू नीड टू वर्क आउट दिस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो क्लास. इट माइट बी वेरी वेरी यूजफुल देम. नेक्स्ट, अर्ली मॉडर्न इंग्लिश. ये एरा हमें याद रखना है. इट्स 1450 टू 17th century till 17th century. Normally people don't believe this era, but I just suggest you to work out this piece. Next one, modern English, 1500 to present. 1550. I repeat, 1550 to present. Those who are preparing for the entrance of MA English or the certain other universities, they need to watch out this class perfectly and write down all these points that I am going to mention in this particular class. Please, this is very helpful for you guys. Please work hard. Then here we have the certain expression for these eras. The first, the Old English. कुछ चीजें जो हम Old English में जानेंगे वो आपके लिए जाने जरूरी होंगी. How you going to cope up? The first are, it is a language, the Anglo-Saxon, a highly inflected language with a largely Germanic vocabulary and very different from modern English. That's true. It's very different from the modern English. आपने कहा सर कैसे डिफरेंट है, क्या चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, तो दोबारा क्लियर नहीं, इस इरा को आप पूरा समझ लेंगे. That all going to work out for the benefit of you and will help you a lot. Now it is a language of Anglo-Saxon, a highly inflected language with a largely Germanic vocabulary, very different from modern English. Very different from modern English. इसके अलावा मैं कुछ और मेंशन करना चाहूँगा. I just want you to guys write down this. That will very helpful you. The spoken by Anglo-Saxons. I must spoken by Anglo-Saxons and descended in parts of what we now the England, southeastern Scotland. Descended in the England we know the southeastern Scotland between the least 5th century. Between the least the 5th century and the mid 12th century. ये याद रखेंगे हम 5th century से 12th century के बीच में फैली, and 80% of the words of Old English are no longer in use. अब वो यूज में नहीं है. 85% of the words those are used in Old English are no longer in use, and the grammatically goes on without these words. So it's all about the Old English. How the Old English work out? What are the basic provision? ये दिमाग में रहना चाहिए. You have to keep these in mind. कि जब ओल्ड इंग्लिश की बात करते हैं तो वो इरा कौन सा था, 5th सेंचुरी से 12th सेंचुरी के बीच का पीरियड था. जो वर्ड्स उसमें यूज हो उसमें 85% आज डिक्शनरी में यूज नहीं होते. दे आर नॉट इन यूज. एंड देन विल कम अप टू द मिडिल इंग्लिश. Here it refers to dialects and the English language spoken in parts of British Isles after the Norman conquest. Norman ने conquest किया तो यहाँ पे borrowings का impact, the use of Latin language. Remember, while you talk about the Middle English, you need to use the Latin language, the influence of Latin language, the borrowing, the acquisition. It was maximum at this period. इस पीरियड में सबसे ज्यादा थी borrowings होगी, एक्विजिशन होगी, लैंग्वेज का ट्रांसप्लांट. हमें उनको ध्यान रखना है. We have to work out these all things have happened in the Middle English period. Jump up to the next part. That is the early modern English. What is the early modern English? क्या थी, कैसे work out होती है? Now it starts from the beginning of Tudor. I repeat, the Tudor period. कहाँ से शुरू हुई? Tudor period के introduction से हमने early modern की बात की. And until the English integration and restoration, from the point of transition from Middle English in the late 15th century and the transition of modern English during the mid to late 17th century. So Tudor period के invention से लेके restoration period तक की period को हमने early modern period का नाम दिया. And that will work out for all of us. कैसे काम करता है, कौन से provisions हैं, we have to keep in mind. And then jump up to the next one, the modern English. क्या थी मॉडर्न इंग्लिश, कैसे काम कर रही थी, क्या चेंजेस थे, व्हाट आर द सिग्निफिकेंट चेंजेस दैट टेक प्लेस इन दैट पीरियड. इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द मॉडर्न इंग्लिश, द लैंग्वेज स्पोकन सिंस द ग्रेट वॉवल शिफ्ट इन इंग्लैंड since began in the late 15th century and has completed 1550, and then afterwards the age of really modernist came up. Lots of changes take place in this period, that's true. In grammar especially, from the borrowings we get lots of knowledge, the new form of the language being come up, such as the example the Indian Anglo-English is the form of the modern English. ये हमें ध्यान रखना है. We have to work out that the words turn out to just 5 now. तो ये consequences क्या हैं, कैसे यूज करते हैं, how the pronunciation being changed throughout the world, what was the basic mottos that had take place. When you're going to write a complete answer over the history of English language, you need to mention these. You must need to mention all these points, such as the difference between old and modern. पहले क्लियर करेंगे. Those who are preparing for the entrance exams or the NET UGC, they need to clear out the difference between these two, the old and the modern, and how they all been different. तो जब हम इनके difference की बात करें तो we have to really keep in mind the several points, such as the spelling and pronunciation. Number 2, the vowels, the long and the other vowels. Next one, vocabulary, that all is very important. Next, the grammar, that changed significantly from old to modern. And last but not the least is the grammatical gender, how the grammatical gender has changed from the old to modern English. What we used to use and what we are using now, that all is a step-by-step study of the history of English language. Hope this class would prove to be a beneficial and you really just clear all your doubts regarding the history of English language. For more videos, you need to subscribe and share my videos with other people so they too can get the benefit. Stay connected as I'm going to upload the videos. Those are going to be very beneficial for all those who really trying very hard to grab the certain questions that come from different genres, different periods and from the different writers. As these video classes are going to provide you the detailed segment studies. I repeat, the detailed segment studies about the different writers, their eras and their verse in different sections. Wishing you all the very best for your upcoming exams, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Bye guys.